When I was a kid, I would watch a lot of nature documentaries. It's probably not a surprise to anyone. And I'd be sat there and I'd marvel at the weird nature of nature. And when the documentaries finished off with the disclaimer that mankind was destroying the ecosystems, I'd be sad and I'd ask myself, why? Isn't there some other option? For the last 10,000 years, humanity has had optimal living conditions on our planet. During this period, called the Holocene, modern civilization has come into existence and has blossomed. All of this has taken place in what we call the biosphere. It's this living layer covering our planet, and it's been the perfect playground for us. Here we have developed everything from the vehicles you arrived in, to the chairs you sat on, to the phones in your pockets, to the mayonnaise and maybe ketchup you put in your sandwiches. Recently, however, there's been some disruptions in the balances in the biosphere. Turn on the news and you're probably gonna see forest fires and floods and ecosystems falling apart. And nowhere are the balances in the biosphere more perfectly outlined and described than in the Planetary Boundaries Framework. This has been developed by leading scientists in climate and sustainability, and it details the limits that we cannot surpass in regards to greenhouse gas emissions and biodiversity damage and ocean acidification and so on. But looking at the current state of affairs, it looks a bit as if we, as a species, are making an aggressive attempt to surpass all of these boundaries as quickly as we can. We are emitting more greenhouse gases than ever. We are plowing the fragile seafloor with bottom trawling and the likes. We are polluting, we are overfishing, and so on. It looks a bit as if we as a species are aiming for a big F in the sustainability exam. You shouldn't laugh, it's sad stuff, guys. I'm a biologist, not an economist. My knowledge of the ways of money and of investments is very limited. I'm not even sure what the difference is between stocks and obligations. But I think the investment we're currently making in the future, surpassing all of these boundaries, looks a bit risky, even dangerous. And so I'd like to share an idea today of a way of doing things a little bit differently and maybe a little bit more sustainable. Because you can't argue with the fact that Earth is our home. I mean, we're all here, right? And it is indisputable that a stable climate is more suited to ensure our survival. Trying to go on without that is like trying to ride a bicycle with no wheels. We also know about ecosystem services. These free services provided by the ecosystems. I'm talking about clean water and food and pollination and air and so on. And we know that the value of these services is so high that half the global GDP, bruttonationalprodukt, mine damer og herrer, is dependent on it. With this in mind, I think that Wall Street should concern itself with planetary boundaries and even with biology. And in the next Wolf of Wall Street movie, they should feature Sir David Attenborough. Right? So, as you can probably tell, I think we should steer in a different direction, and a direction that is a little bit more green. And what I'm about to propose is probably not going to be very popular with the actors emitting the most. And the biggest polluters, they're not going to like this. But I think we need to start considering the true cost of things. If the fossil fuel industry wants to drill for coal and oil and gas and do severe damage to the climate, they need to pay for that. If a business wants to cut down rainforest in Brazil and Argentina to make soy for Danish pigs, they need to pay for the damage inflicted on the rainforest and the loss of ecosystem services. And now critics, they're going to argue that, but this is going to negatively affect the bottom line. But why should they profit at the expense of a habitable planet? Right now, the cost for all this damage and pollution, it is being paid. But it's not being paid by the actors causing it. It is being paid by ecosystems falling apart, by cities drowning, by cities burning, and even species going extinct. The bill is passed on. Now, if someone passed on the bill like this in Denmark, you'd call him en meget uhøflig person. This roughly translates to a very impolite person, and this is putting it mildly. Now, once again, I'm a biologist, not an economist, but I don't think it's fair that someone profits off of pushing us past the safe limits of our planet without having to pay for it. Why should everyone else pay for that? And maybe if we put a price on the destruction and the pollution, they'd do it less. When I was a kid, I would be watching all of these nature documentaries. I wouldn't be playing football. I'd just sit there in front of the TV, watching rainforest and elephants. And when the documentaries finished off with the disclaimer that mankind was destroying all this fabulous stuff that we all like so much, I'd ask myself, why? Isn't there some other option? And now, as a grown man, still a young man, but a grown man, I sort of know the answer to these questions. The reason why we destroy these ecosystems is because someone profits off of it, and therefore they won't stop. I mean, try to take money away from someone, and they're probably not going to like it. And as for other options, I think it's pretty straightforward. Put a price on the destruction and the pollution, and make them pay. Thank you.